Shalom. Brother Kalaya coming at you with an in-transit video. Prior to getting started, I'd like to give all glory, honors, and prayers unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachat Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to those feet like Shalom. Alright? And on this in-transit video, I want to kind of answer a question that I had, mentally took down when I was out sitting by my grandmother for a small period of time, and we were watching the city council meeting. All right, and of course I'm not gonna get into the specifics because it really don't matter. But she had asked a question. She was like, why are the so-called white folks so prompt for getting Jake out of different positions of power, right? And obviously she don't have the understanding to know why that is, or I didn't bother to tell her. I was very vague with my answer. But I'm gonna say it, I answered in so many words, but I didn't answer it scripturally, and I got a little bit of a drive, so I said, why not answer it on here? Alright? But as we know, the Lord put this devil, this Edomite, in charge, okay, of the earth. That's Job 9:24. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. You see? But when you go into that goes into their government, right? Their way of doing things, their influence, their structure, all right? The foundation in which this place was built on, okay? And the only reason they give Jakes these different, jobs of office and certain things of that nature is simply to mask their deception, okay? They figure if they give Jake a little bit, they're not going to ask for more. And now it's getting to the point where, Edom is about to start showing his horns. And one thing she mentioned was, ever since, DJ Donald Trump got into office, it's pretty much been, a lot of so-called blacks being put out of positions of power all across the board, all the way from a national level to a statewide level. But enough rambling. I got a couple scriptures that I had on my mind, and I just want to bring them out. Real quick, let me grab this. Solomon, the 2nd chapter, and let's see, yeah, verse 11, and it reads, well, shit, I'm gonna start at 10. Really, when you're going into Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, it's a beautiful chapter to grasp the understanding of an Edomite, right? Especially an Edomite in power, okay? What they believe, how they go about ruling over Jake and things of that nature. So if you haven't, go ahead and read it. All right, but nevertheless, it reads, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. And in this particular council meeting, it was going into, the water treatment for a specific organization down here that provides the city with water, and how it's led to mental illnesses, I would say. But nevertheless, that goes to show you right there. Hey, they oppress the poor righteous man. All right, the ancient gray hairs. Okay, they don't care. All right. Yeah, he gonna die. He driving like that, he gonna die. Verse 11, it reads, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. All right. And so ultimately, what I was trying to get my grandmother to understand, and it's not even trying to get her to understand, but she asked me a serious question, and I tried to give her the answer in layman's terms, excluding the Bible. And basically what I told her was, ultimately, Edomites pretty much set up, the infrastructure for what we see today as the United States government, and obviously beyond that, but that's far beyond her comprehension. So I just used, the United States government, and they set that up. And for someone to come in and get a piece of that, especially someone who they feel that is inferior, right? You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, is an insult unto them. So they don't allow you to get those positions of power and make changes. If you're going along with the get along, of course you can stay, right? That person will be the scapegoat for whatever disasters happen or anything on a negative end. They'll be the scapegoat, right? They just blame it on the so-called black man or whoever is in that position, right, out of the tribes. But nevertheless, getting into that place of power and using your position for the better is totally outside of the script. All right, Esau lets you Jakes get in those positions. You don't get that from hard work. All right, they strategically let you get those positions, and if you don't cooperate, hey, they'll break your life apart, man. But I'll read that again. It says, "Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth." Okay, and nevertheless, my grandmother, she was like, I don't know why I even bother watching these council meetings, because nothing ever changes, and it won't change. Any change you see is outfitted to promote whatever agenda, okay, these devils are trying to go with. All right, it's not in your best interest. It's never in you Jake's best interest. All right, it's always going to be in the interest of Esau Edom, man. Okay, but and it's hard because you get these questions, and the Lord has loaded us with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and this gospel, man. All right, I want to hone in on that gospel because we have a kingdom coming. You see, and our kingdom will be judged aright, man. So I'm gonna grab real quick. I'm gonna grab this. Verse 10. Right. Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, and it shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. Right? Ultimately, America is not your rest, man. All right, rest goes into you having comfort, right, stability. You see, you can have a breath of fresh air. Hey, the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, all right, and within the curses, it tell you that we ain't gonna have no rest, man. Hey, this devil is on our ass. You see, and on all angles. All right. We're not permitted to have rest on this side. The only rest we get is this truth on this side, man. You see? That's the only rest we get. Alright? Let me get this Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah. One second. Right. Isaiah 9:6. Okay. It says, for us a child is born, unto us a son is given. The government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Okay? I'm gonna continue on. Verse 7, it says, of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon the kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. You see, it told you that the government of Yahushua will be governed with judgment, man. All right? It will be governed with judgment. You see? And with justice. All right? This devil doesn't govern his people with justice or with what did it say? Judgment. All right? Righteous judgment at that. There are all sorts of cases in which this devil has showed that he's unjust. All right? Scriptures tell you he not in trouble as other men. You see? The crime of an Edomite, right, is and the punishment is way less than the crime committed by a Jake. All right, but nevertheless, to harp too much on that, you know, I am approaching my destination, but you know, that's the case we in right now, man. We're waiting for our kingdom. Salakia. You know, we waiting on our kingdom, man. Which the Lord gonna give us a kingdom that shall never fail, man. Under the rulership of Yahushua, man. Okay? But nevertheless, our people would never get it on this side. Only elect or allotted to understand that. Okay, and some of them guys may understand it, but do they believe it? Right? Because understanding and believing are two different things. You know? We believe it though, and we understand it, and we stand by it. Lord willing, we stay that way unto the end, that we may be the first partakers, the first fruits of it. You see? But that was pretty much the point. It just was, you know, a little bit of 2 cents. I mentally jotted down that question my grandmother had posed to me, and off that I just, you know, built a little lesson up. Lord willing, was edifying first and foremost to the hopefully elect, and then those that cling unto the body. Before I get out of here, I want to give all glory, honors, and prayers unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to hopefully elect. Shalom and a Bible ball.